This midday funeral plans are coming together to honor former President Jimmy Carter. It includes public viewings in Atlanta and Washington, as well as a national day of mourning. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has details.
This morning, tributes continue to pour in for the late President Jimmy Carter, his life dedicated to public service before and long after his time in the White House.
He was an honest man. I think his legacy would be his honesty, his faith, and in politics, that's kind of rare today.
Mourners across the country paying their respects, from Atlanta outside the Carter Center to the United Nations.
I would ask all in the chamber now to rise and join in a minute of silence in memory of President Jimmy Carter.
An 8-day period of mourning begins tomorrow, which includes a state funeral in Georgia. President Carter's remains will lay in repose at the Carter Presidential Center, then flown to D.C. to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol, and end with a national memorial service in Washington, where President Biden will deliver his eulogy.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
Jimmy Carter took the oath of office in January 1977. His critics will argue that his presidency had mixed reviews with challenges at home and abroad. But there is much more agreement that his post-White House life was remarkable, building homes for the poor even into his 90s. And through the Carter Center, bringing fair elections and an end to diseases in places around the world.
I think that planes impacted every facet of his life. I was talking to somebody this morning, and the thing about it is he always came home. He always came home.
Carter's body will then be laid to rest at his home in Plains, Georgia, alongside his wife of 77 years, Rosalind Carter. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Jimmy Carter's grandson, Jason, will deliver one of the eulogies. Today on Good Morning America, he shared his memories of his grandfather.
I have a lot of memories of, like others do, of him taking me fishing or, sitting around talking about what I should do in my life. I mean, when I graduated from college, he and I sat down and I said, what would you do if you were me? And he said, I would go to Africa and join the Peace Corps. And so I did that, and so he's an interesting guy, but he really was a grandfather to me first.
WFAA's coverage of the funeral and legacy of Jimmy Carter will continue throughout the next 2 weeks, both on air and online.